Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopitana Vallabha Girivara Hari Jaya Gopitana Jaya Gopitana Vallabha Girivara Hari Jaya Gopitana Vallabha Girivara Hari Yashodanandana Brajajanarandana Yashodanandana Brajajanarandana Jamuna Tira Vanantari Jamuna Tira Vanantari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara Hari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara Hari Jaya Gopi Jana Yashodanandana Brajajanarandana Yashodanandana Brajajanarandana Yamuna Tira Vanantari Yamuna Tira Vanantari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe, Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Gaur Premanande Daim Vishupad Paramahamsa Tri Vratika Shadja Stotala Satta Srimad His Divine Grace Silaboy Charan Arvind Bhakti Raghava Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Skandiviti Founder Charyas Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada Ki Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Samaveta Bhakti Vrinda Ki Harinam Sankirtan Ki Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Tiny Tag Gaur Premanande All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Sri Guru and to Sri Gauranga, all glories to Sri Prabhupada Ki. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmiritam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhuktale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadam Sikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Gita Parakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavam Sya Sri Rupam Sagradatam Sahagana Raghunatam Ditam Sam Sadivam Sadvaitam Savarutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakandritam Scha Hai Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kancana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Suti Devi Pranamami Hare Priye Vansakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha Narayanam namaskritya Dharam chaiva narotamam Devim Sarasatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayat. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, let us first offer our respectful obeisances unto Narayana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, unto Nara, Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayasavadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatu Tamasloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. By regularly hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam and by rendering service unto the pure devotee, all that is troublesome within the heart becomes destroyed practically to nil, and loving devotional service unto the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, becomes established as an irrevocable fact. Idam Bhagavatam Nama Puranam Brahma Samhitam Tamashloka Charitam Sakara Bhagavan Rishi Nishreyasaya Lokasya Dhanyam Swasyayanam Mahat. This Srimad Bhagavatam, known as the Grantaraj, the king of all Vedic literatures, is the literary incarnation of God. It is compiled by the incarnation of God, as Srila Vyasadeva. It is meant for the ultimate good of all people. It is all successful, all blissful, and all perfect. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Sarabhyaya Namaha Om Sarabhyaya Namaha Om Sarabhyaya Namaha Mukam karoti vacharam pragum langayate girim yatkripa tamaham bande Sri Gurum Dinataranam Yatkripa tamaham bande Sri Gurum Dinataranam. Hare Krishna. We are continuing from Canto number 1, chapter 16, entitled How Parikshit Received the Age of Kali. And today it is text number 6. Yes. Atavasya Padam Bhoja Makaranda Liham Satam Kim Anyayar Asad Alapair Ayusho Yad Asad Vyayaha Atha Vasya Padam Bhoja Makaranda Liham Satam Kim Anyayar Asad Alapair Ayusho Yad Asad Vyayaha Attavasya Padam Bhoja Makarandha Liham Satam Kimanyayar Asad Alapair Ayusho Yad Asad Vyayaha Athavasya Padam Bhoja Makaranda Liham Satam Himanyayar Asad Alapair Ayusho Yad Asad Vyayaha Attavasya Padam Bhoja Makaranda Liham Satam Kimanyayar Asad Alapair Ayusho Yad Asad Vyayaha
Attavasya padam bhoja
Attavasya padam bhoja
Makarandaliham satam
Makarandaliham satam
Manyaira sadalapai
Kim manyara sadalapai
Ayusho yadda sadgayaha
Ayuso yadva sadvyayaha
Athavasya padam bhoja
Attavasya padam bhoja
Makarandaliham satam
Makarandaliham satam
Kim anyar asad alapair
Kim manyara sadalapai
Ayusho yad asad vyaya
Ayusho yadva sadvyayaha
Athavasya padam bhoja
Attavasya padam bhoja
Makarandaliham satam
Makarandaliham satam
Kimanyera sat alapair
Kim manyara sadalapai
Ayusho yad asadvyaya
Ayusho yadva sadvyayaha
Athavasya padam bhajam
One line at a time. Means, yeah. Atavasya padam bhoja.
Athavasya padam bhajam
Atavasya padam bhoja.
Akaradam lihama satam
Makaranda liham satam.
Kima anyad asad alapo
Kim anyara sad alapair.
Ayusha yad asad vyaya
Ayusho yad asadvyayaha.
Athavasya padam bhojam
Attavasya padam bhoja
makarandam liham satam
Makaranda liham satam
kim anyera asat alapair
Kim manyara sadalapair
ayuso yat asadvyayam
Ayusho yad sadvyayaha Athava Otherwise Asya of his Lord Krishna's Pada Amboja lotus feet Makaranda Diham of those who lick the honey from such a lotus flower Satam of those who are to exist eternally Kimmanyai what is the use of anything else? Asat. Illusory. Alapai. Topics. Ayusha. Of the duration of life. Yet that which is. Asat Vyayaha. Unnecessary waste of life.
Unnecessary waste of life.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. The devotees of the Lord are accustomed to licking up the honey available from the lotus feet of the Lord. What is the use of topics which simply waste one's valuable life? Kindly repeat after me. The devotees of the Lord are accustomed to licking up the honey available from the lotus feet of the Lord. What is the use of topics which simply waste one's valuable life? Purport. Lord Kṛṣṇa and his devotees are both on the transcendental plane. Therefore, the topics of Lord Kṛṣṇa and of his pure devotees are equally good. The battle of Kurukshetra is full of politics and diplomacy. But because the topics are related with Lord Kṛṣṇa, the Bhagavad Gita is therefore adored all over the world. There is no need to eradicate politics, economics, sociology, etc., which are mundane to the mundaners. To a pure devotee who is actually related with the Lord, such mundane things are transcendental if dovetail with the Lord or with His pure devotees. We have heard and talked about the activities of the Pandavas, and we now are dealing with the topics of Maharaj Parikshit. But because all these topics are related to the Lord, Sri Krishna, they are all transcendental, and pure devotees have great interest in hearing them. We have already discussed this matter in connection with the prayers of Bhishma Dev. Our duration of life is not very long, and there is no certainty of when we shall be ordered to leave everything for the next stage. Thus it is our duty to see that not a moment of our life is wasted in topics which are not related with Lord Krishna. Any topic, however pleasant, is not worth hearing if it is devoid of its relation to Krishna. The spiritual planet, Goloka Vrindavan, the eternal abode of Lord Krishna, is shaped like the world of a lotus flower. Even when the Lord descends to any one of the mundane planets, He does so by manifesting His own abode as it is. Thus, His feet remain always on the same big world of the lotus flower. His feet are also as beautiful as the lotus flower. Therefore it is said that Lord Krishna has lotus feet. A living being is eternal by constitution. He is, so to speak, in the whirlpool of birth and death due to his contact with material energy. Freed from such material energy, a living entity is liberated and is eligible to return home back to Godhead. Those who want to live forever without changing their material bodies should not waste valuable time with topics other than those relating to Lord Krishna and His devotees. Translation again. The devotees of the Lord are accustomed to licking up the honey available from the lotus feet of the Lord. What is the use of topics which simply waste one's valuable life? So, therefore, Lord Chaitanya, one of many instructions, asat sanga tyaga e vaishnavachar, stri sangi eko sadhu Krishna abhakta. Here there is mention of what is sat and what is asat. We must always learn to differentiate with what is sat and what is asat. Sat means what is connected with Krishna, what is eternal, what is connected with the soul. And asat is disconnected, and the more we associate with asat, either individuals who are not connected with Krishna, topics which are not connected with Krishna, activities which are not connected with Krishna, the more we become distanced from Krishna, the more we become distanced from our main and primary goal and objective in life, which, as we are reminded in the purport, is to actually prepare ourselves to regain our, what is meant to be our eternal, natural constitutional position in the spiritual world. And we are given the opportunity to do this. Very important point being explained here in regards to so many activities that are there in the material world, whether they are political activities, activities connected with economics, sociology. These are a few that are mentioned. There's a long list, actually. Everything and anything in the material world, when it is connected with Krishna, when it is properly utilized for the purpose of Krishna, then it becomes, as Prabhupada in the early days would use the expression, it becomes Krishnized. It becomes Krishnized or spiritualized, yes. And therefore this is a ever ongoing, we could say, challenge that individually all of us we meet, and that we collectively as well as a society. And of course, in the context of our particular situation here, in terms of promoting a varnashram ideology, unless one properly understands what is being conveyed here, then we will be reluctant to engage in seemingly material activities, isn't it? So, from our Vaishnava definition, Srila Prabhupada's definition, Shastra's definition of material activities, activities are only material when they are when they're disconnected with Krishna, isn't it? So that's a whole science, a whole art, which we need to learn how to do things. That's very much connected with the whole concept of I would say, misunderstood concept of prescribed duties. And I think this needs to be discussed much more than it is. Of course, most people don't like even the word duty. Duty. You're on duty. You have to work, you have to do something. But there is, that expression is there in the Bhagavad Gita and in the Bhagavatam, prescribed duties, you know. And what has helped me to understand that a little bit more is that when we add the word Vedic prescribed duties, it becomes a bit more clear. There are Vedic prescribed duties and there are prescribed duties that are not Vedic. In a simple way, whatever activities help us to connect more closely with Krishna, that falls in the category of prescribed duties. And the prescribed duties are very, very clearly delineated, presented actually in the pages of the Bhagavatam. What are the prescribed duties? There's so many prescribed duties. For all of the different varnas, there are prescribed duties. And they are especially, we could say, summed up in in the concept of what is termed as Chatur Vidya. And this whole symposium is connected with Chatur Vidya, actually. We are planning, I guess it's good to talk about it here and there. We just announced it kind of like yesterday. Our Varnashram College Foundation, to highlight actually some of these points that are mentioned here in the Bhagavatam, will be conducting or hosting a symposium, not a conference, a symposium in the month of Kartik, during the, I believe, second weekend of Kartik, 18th and 19th, I believe, of October. 18th and 19th of October. Somebody can just reconfirm if that's a Saturday and Sunday. For 2 days, we will, here, actually on campus, on our BCF campus, this will be our first annual, we're calling it Daiva Varnashram Symposium. And it is to give an opportunity for our devotees, those who are meant to be a bit more scholarly, those who are more scholarly, and for general devotees as well, to really focus on what are meant to be the actual prescribed duties for number one, in general, for all members of society. Secondly, specifically for Vaishnavas. And then number three, for Vaishnavas who are meant to take up different positions in society, either as Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras. Now right away some people will say, Maharaj, we can't say Vaishnava Shudra. Well, we say Vaishnava Brahmana. If we say Vaishnava Brahmana, and if we also refer to Vaishnava Kshatriyas, then we also can and should refer to Vaishnava Vaishyas and Vaishnava Shudras. Understanding the difference between, as it is explained actually in the Bhagavad Gita, Chatur Varnamaya Sistam Guna Karma Vibhagashaha. So there's a difference in terms of the guna and the karma. When we look at Varnashrama without devotion, without the daiva, without the bhakti, then the guna and the karma, they are connected in terms of the three modes of material nature. The guna means qualities. But when we look at guna and karma in terms of a devotee and in terms of devotional service, the gunas are at least in the mode of goodness or above. Guna means quality of bhakti. And karma means activity. So Vaishnavas are meant to be engaged in different types of activities that generally fall in these four varnas. So it's a very deep-rooted subject matter which in so many ways we means as a society, ISKCON as a society, it's one of our foremost duties and responsibilities given to us by our founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada to present to the world, and we can only do that when we ourselves live that philosophy, to present to the world what is meant to be the most ideal in terms of activities, in terms of occupation, and therefore what is meant to be the norm and the ideal in terms of Vedic prescribed duties. So Vedic prescribed duties actually is meant to conform, Hare Krishna, adding color to the class, is meant to, Vedic prescribed duties is meant to conform with this whole, is very fascinating and absolutely essential. What is, I was mentioning a little earlier, the whole concept of Chatur Vidya. Chatur Vidya is referring to 4 eternal sciences that we are meant to actually introduce in Varnashrama colleges. Varnashrama colleges, just like any college or educational institution, especially college level, university level, is divided into different faculties, isn't it? So the 4 Vidyas are directly connected with the 4 faculties. Faculty of, in the Western world, it's called metaphysics. Metaphysics, yeah. Anvikshiki, the science of philosophy. The science of philosophy, Anvikshiki, which is preliminary. Just like when Krishna and Balaram went to Gurukul after leaving Vrindavan, Sandipani Muni, Gurukula, they first, they were sent to Gurukul by Vasudev and Devaki. Your Kshatriya family, we are your mother and father, we are Kshatriya lineage. So you have to get training in Kshatriya, become Kshatriyas. But before learning, that's described actually in the Bhagavatam, before learning Dhanur Veda, which is especially one of many shastras for Kshatriyas, they first learned Anvikshiki. Yeah, they first learned the basics in terms of course, they didn't have to learn anything. They're already the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but so they learned the Vedas. So Anvikshiki means the basic knowledge that is there in the Vedas, basic philosophy. It's very interesting because that's divided into Sankhya, Yoga, and Tarka, the art of argument and debate. Yeah, right, based on Shastra. So unless we have that first level, unless we have the basics of that first level, then we will not be able to understand or introduce the other 3 Vidyas. There's a direct link and connection. So once that basis is there, that's why the Chatur Vidyas, especially for the Dvijas. For the Dvijas are those who are the natural leaders in society. It means the Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, and Vaishyas. So this Varnashram college and any Varnashram college needs to have a formulated curriculum that corresponds to these 4 Vidyas. So once having learned the basic in terms of the 4 Vidyas, metaphysics or Anvikshiki, then the science for the Brahmanas, which is referred to as Tarayi, is connected with education, science of education, both in terms of theology as well as various kinds of material sciences, material arts and sciences. And that is the specialization which requires longer period of study. That's why Brahmanas, they spend more time in Gurukul, longer time in Gurukul. And depending on what they learn, they get different types of, this is something we have to research actually. Yes. In Indonesia, they have very interesting titles for graduate, masters, and PhD. They call it S satu, S dua, S tiga. And I'm sure that our Damodar Prabhu Maharaj is talking about S satu. S satu actually means, S is a short for sarjana. Sarjana is Sanskrit word sarjana. Sarjana means erudite. Yeah, learned. No, sarjana. Hey, you're a Sanskrit. What is the meaning of sarjana? Maybe I'm not pronouncing it right. Sarjan. No, Sarjana.
Sarjana.
Okay, it may be a slightly deviation.
Only Srijan means creation, like Brahma, he created, that's what Srijan. Surgeon, but his surgeon, I have not done.
No, okay. Well, there's a very close link and connection with, let's say, what they call Bahasa Indonesia, very closely connected with Sanskrit, but sometimes some of the words. Sarjana actually means educated or learned, erudite. So Sarjana 1 means actually a basic university degree. Sarjana 2 means actually master's degree. And S Tiga means 3, means a PhD degree. Yeah.
Equals to like Brahmins are in India, they are Dvivedi, Trivedi and
Saturvedi, correct.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is one area where we need, our Amala Harinam, that's going to be one of his areas of research actually. There are so many things actually to be researched. Different titles. Prabhupada in his lectures sometimes would go on mentioning how everyone had a title actually. Even regardless of your position in society, there was some particular name or title that kind of like identified individuals. So that is the second level, or the second science. And the third, of course, is what we are reading a lot about in this particular chapter, the science of polity, or the science of politics. Dandaniti. To train individuals to become like personalities like Parikshit Maharaj, actual Vedic, Vaishnava, Kshatriyas. And the fourth, of course, which is, in many ways, the fourth is more closely and directly connected with the general mass of people, which is, of course, Varta, or the science of economics, which is Krishi and Goraksha, yeah, correct. Cow protection and natural farming or natural agriculture. So all of these are actually very very deep subject matters that are not proper, that are not known in many cases. They're definitely not known in general society amongst common people, but the unfortunate condition is that they're not known amongst our devotees as well. Yeah, I mean, who's teaching about politics?
Nobody even knows about this for
Actually, I had written, I won't mention any names, but I had written a proposal, I don't know, 5 years ago. In the context that, anyone, by the way, you'll be interested to know, anyone who's connected with our society has an opportunity once a year. It's a once in a year opportunity. You can actually write a proposal to the highest authority within our ISKCON society that they will actually consider on one condition, that you have, that your proposal is supported by at least 2 members of the GDC. I mean, everyone should know. Everyone can actually, I mean, everyone is entitled to present some suggestions and actually write an actual proposal. And they put that in there, of course, so that, at least 2 people, responsible people in the society will have read your proposal and will support it. Otherwise, I mean, why waste people's time if you have a nonsensical kind of proposal? In any event, in the proposal I had written, which was a proposal to actually establish a global ministry for Varnashram, in that proposal, in one of the sections, I had made reference to Chaturvidya, the term Chaturvidya, and I had explained a little bit. And the response I got back, which was a preliminary response, was that, Maharaj, in your paper, I think you made a mistake in what is that? What is that term? So anyways, I had to write back and explain and give a reference, etc. like that. I just do it to support what you're mentioning, that most people don't even know about the term. That's because we find that term in what is called the Kautilya Arthashastra, written by Chanakya Pandit, which is one of the important shastras that is especially connected with Kshatriya training.
What is mentioned here in Kautilya?
What is?
What reference you are saying?
No, I'm mentioning this Chaturvidya.
Okay.
This Chaturvidya and these terms of Anvikshiki and Trayi, Dandaniti and Varta, they are there in the Kautilya Arthashastra of Chanakya.
And also in Vishnu Purana.
I'm sure they're in other places as well.
I read it there.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
When Indra is speaking, he speaks Anvikshiki Trayivarta Dandaniti Samesha.
Bhishmadev.
Indra.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
Indra is offering.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's like, we speak the same language. It's the same language, it's the same philosophy, it's the same unchanging, because it's perfect philosophy, isn't it? And why bother learning about things that are imperfect when we have the opportunity to learn something that's perfect?
Right.
Perfect society, as described in the 7th canto of the Bhagavatam. We have that Bhagavad Gita, Vedic knowledge is perfect knowledge.
That's why I gave you today reference. I sent you about the measurement distance from Earth to
Yeah, correct.
Sun.
Yeah,
It's more
right.
accurate than NASA.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, when we allow and create a situation that gives an opportunity for people to delve into these subject matters, then we can learn so many things, and it's very much needed for a society such as ours, which is trying to present something which, practically speaking, nobody else can present. What is the complete, full, clear understanding in terms of spiritual dharma, and then equally as important, what is material dharma, because that the full meaning, you were pointing out yesterday how Srila Prabhupada in many purports in the Bhagavatam practically equates Sanatana Dharma to Varnashrama Dharma. Because Varnashrama Dharma is part of Sanatana Dharma. It is also based on eternal principles. Some years back, actually, when the Bodhi had asked me, why do we say that Varnashrama Dharma is eternal? And then I was explaining how, well, in the Bhagavad Gita, there are 4 tattvas. I'm sorry, 5. But 4 of them are eternal, and 1 is not, isn't it? Ishvara, Jiva, Kala, and Prakriti are 4 eternal tattvas. And then, well, I guess karma is an eternal tattva, but karma is not an eternal reality. I mean, we can put an end to karma. Karma, fortunately, is not eternal. So the point is that Varnashrama Dharma is directly connected with Prakriti, modes of material nature. Varnashrama is meant to elevate one to the higher mode of nature and, of course, beyond, mode of goodness. So, so these things, they need to be systematically, that is directly Srila Prabhupada's expectation and his order to all of us, to systematically study and present this knowledge. So anyways, for everyone's knowledge, or information rather, we are planning, it's still in the very early stage, we'll be sharing more information in the coming few weeks. I think we'll make some posters and put here and there, maybe on the campus, on the VCF campus and the Mayapur campus, and whatever. We have a number of communities, actually, both within Mayapur and within the greater Mayapur. Mayapur is expanding. So we'll be putting up posters on this Daiva Varnashrama Symposium, which will basically be a call for papers, those who are more scholarly inclined, to do some serious research, which will be connected. Basically, the 5 themes are directly connected with this Chatur Vidya in the symposium that we are planning. And that's why it's directly dealing with what we call Vedic sociology. Vedic sociology is what a whole Vedic culture is made up of, because Vedic sociology, there are these 4 basic essential components. We cannot speak of any society without having these 4 components, isn't it? There has to be rulers, there has to be teachers, brahmanas, rulers, kshatriyas, and there has to be people who are producing vaishyas. And of course, the rest, everyone else is helping in different ways like that. It's like, it's in many ways, it's part of the essence in terms of how to organize, how to do things materially in the material world, that will, again, this point, which is one of the main points being elaborated upon by Srila Prabhupada, which will bring us and connect us more easily with Krishna, isn't it? Because when we work in a factory, it's very difficult to keep our mind on Krishna. And our association with steel and rubber and all kinds of noise that is there is not helping us to come to the mode of goodness, rather the opposite, isn't it? When we work in a non-Vedic, non-conducive type of environment, then it has obviously negative effect on us. We all prefer to live and to be and to work in a more natural, attractive, pleasant environment. That's why people go to temples. Temples are meant to be above the mode of goodness. They are a replica of Prabhupada described temples as a spiritual oasis, a place like in the desert where you can come and get some water, get some food, take a little rest before you continue your journey in the desert. So these are a few points. I mentioned here. So whether anyone has some question on this or comment. Welcome to our Kirti Raj Prabhu. You're still in Mayapur? Okay. Very good. Yeah. Yes.
You mentioned this school and give the example of Krishna was in Shandipandi Muni's ashram.
Yes.
So that's interesting that this kind of education is not necessarily connected to a Vaishnava leader or school leader. Like Shandipandi Muni was a worshipper of Lord Shiva.
Mm-hmm.
So can you explain that how we can understand that this kind of course, it's good if we have Vaishnava teachers, but
We also worship Lord Shiva.
can you explain that how Krishna chose that, and how is this an example for us also to develop this kind of schools or accept teachers?
Why did Lord Chaitanya accept initiation from?
Just maybe some transcendentalism, but I mean, in a Varnashrama college, could we accept teachers who are not necessarily directly like a high-class
Yeah.
pure Vaishnavas, but they are, for example, Lord Shiva worshippers, but correct in the sense of Shandipani Muni was correct in their Vedic education and knowledge and behavior.
Right. So the question is, can we as devotees accept teachers who may not be fully, completely, 100% Vaishnavas? Kind of, yeah.
Or they established in some worship, but they are good Sanskrit teachers,
Yeah, correct.
good economic teachers.
Yes, yes. I would say in the present context in which we find ourselves, where the Vedic culture has been mutilated and broken, and where we have very few people who are knowledgeable in the various sciences that make up actually Vedic culture. Some of our devotees, I think we're forced to do that. We need to approach whoever has knowledge, even though they may not have the full, even though they may not be fully in our line as Vaishnavas, but we should be cautious. We should be cautious in how we receive such knowledge. I mean, it was Lord Chaitanya who also instructed, who is it? One of the Goswamis, Gopalabhatta Goswami, to go to Varanasi and
Jiva Goswami also was instructed to go
to hear from Mayavadi teachers about Sanskrit.
learning Sanskrit and Vedic.
Yeah, I mean, our Venugopal was, I was always in anxiety. Sending somebody in a dungeon, kind of surrounded by people who are not. So it's possible, but one needs to be cautious and needs to be taking necessary, because actually it's happened in the past where, I won't give. It's a classical example that has happened within our society, but where somebody went to learn Sanskrit and then, just like changed.
Never came back.
Yeah, right.
Think of very strange ideas.
Yeah, right. So I think there are a lot of examples in the history of some good. I mean, they're all good examples in the sense that one was able to take from someone who might not have been directly in the Vaishnava line and was able to benefit and then introduce that knowledge within our society, within our lineage. But then we have also examples of individuals who got allured and learned some particular science or knowledge, but then never came back, kind of.
Like Srila Prabhupada's father chose to send Srila Prabhupada to a Christian
school,
type of school,
college.
because not because of the considering the, the career.
Yes.
But the behavior of the teachers was much better as in every other school.
Yes, that's a good example. Yeah, there are many similar type of examples. So I would say at this stage, we probably need to do that more than maybe we would like to do, because we just don't have the point we were making a little earlier. These four sciences are because we have not sufficiently understood, sufficiently discussed the importance of varnashrama, of re-establishing varnashrama. And re-establishing varnashrama means without these four sciences, it cannot be done. So therefore, we have to accept that we need to introduce these four sciences, and each one of these faculties, there are many departments within each of these faculties as well, for which there are specific specialized teachers, and we just don't have these, Of course, Srila Prabhupada in the early beginning, that was one of the questions just 2 days back when I had a conference call with some devotees. I think the question was like, what was Prabhupada's transformation or changes in terms of varnashram? Because some devotees have all kinds of elaborate, understandings on that. And definitely in the early days, of course, first thing to know is that Prabhupada knew about varnashram, spoke about varnashram.
Even before.
Yeah, even before going to the West. Yeah, it's in the Gita Nagari in particular, yeah. But when he started his preaching in the West, the first, when we know about, for example, what is called the four movements, and most people don't, that are mentioned in the Gita Nagari, well, Prabhupada was concentrating on the first two, especially. He was introducing, in Thompson Square Park, he introduced the chanting of the holy name, and was sending devotees out on a daily basis to do Harinam, daily Harinam, and to distribute his Back to Godhead magazine, whatever books, which, there were no books in the beginning practically. So, and then opening temples. These were the two main activities. And Prabhupada was especially focused in bringing in those who were having some ability or some hope of becoming brahmanas. Prabhupada's focus was on re-establishing, the social head, Brahminical head within society, and these brahmanas. But then after some years, Prabhupada observed and also verbalized or explained, we've been preaching, and of course, he never minimized, and it should never also be minimized, book distribution, but he indicated how so many of our devotees are not able to follow actually the Brahminical standard, and even some of our sannyasis are falling down. So therefore, we need to introduce varnashram. We cannot only just focus on creating brahmanas, although that is important. And therefore, the whole mission of Lord Chaitanya is for not only brahmanas, for everyone. And therefore, in order for that to take place, in order for that to happen, therefore varnashrama is necessary. Yeah.
In fact, Prabhupada said that we want to create at least few brahmanas.
Yes.
That was, the Prabhupada understood that it's not going to be.
Correct. Yes.
About that
Yes.
we want Brahman, but at least in a class, a little.
Yes.
A small class number of.
Yes. And at the same time, Srila Prabhupada also stressed the point that not only brahmanas, but kshatriyas, these two classes, in one lecture to his disciples in America, Prabhupada is talking to Americans here, primarily in that lecture, that you American boys and girls, you should at least in your country introduce these two classes, these two cultures, Brahminical culture and Kshatriya culture, and if you do that, the whole world will be saved. So, because they are the two most important leaders within the whole system of varnashrama. they will, if we have qualified brahmanas and qualified kshatriyas, then the rest will follow. The rest will automatically follow, isn't it? So these, in many ways, these are the two, in our Varnashram college here, we have to see actually, because I would say like this, there will be many Varnashram colleges, and some might specialize more in one particular area than others, which is natural, different schools and whatnot. But initially at this point, we will, it will be somewhat open, I would say, and then we will, in course of time, maybe emphasize more on one particular aspect as opposed to another. But the whole concept, from what Prabhupada described, in terms of Varnashram college, the very word Varnashrama means the four, Now, Gurukul is slightly different in the sense that there's a need for specialized Brahmana Gurukul, because generally Gurukul means Brahmana Gurukul, or Gurukul to train Brahmanas. But there's also an urgent need for Kshatriya Gurukul, which is what we are also promoting, and we will, in due course of time, I would say, see both of these taking place and developing. I think there's, I've not studied deeply the subject matter in terms of, were there just Vaishya Gurukuls also? Because mainly or largely Prabhupada was especially emphasizing the Gurukul for Brahmanas and Kshatriyas. Even for Vaishyas, he would say, although technically they can go to Gurukul, but generally not for a long time, probably.
Maharaj, in at least modern India, what I was doing some research. Modern India means I am saying in last 200, 300 years.
Right.
So Gurukuls were there. Actually there had been like lakhs of Gurukuls basically.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. You're talking about before the British came. Right, correct.
Before
Yes.
the British, up to the time of British. But then
Right.
the British only started changing that.
Of course.
That whole system.
Yeah.
So the education was on different arts.
Okay.
And they would learn like between 16 or something. Every year they were dedicated for one of the arts.
Yes.
And they would learn even those things like metallurgy, astronomy,
Okay.
astrology. So
Yes.
all these things were given.
Yes.
Basics given everybody, and then elaborate study was according to the Guru Karma.
Yes. Yes.
So those village Gurukul, what I could relate to and understand,
Right.
that they had been giving all even this traditional technology and all those also taught.
Yes.
certain things. Where from we can get the reference also that the swords
Yes.
which were made in Bharat,
Yes.
they had very good alloy.
Yes.
They
Yes.
were using all those. So that required a good understanding of science,
Correct.
how to make them.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
And those were not made by Kshatriya or Brahmins. They were made by those who knew the
Yeah. Correct.
technologies.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. I mean, there's so many things. No, I thought you were about to put your hand up. Yes.
Just a little thing that in 20 years ago, Tejas Prabhu
Tejas. Yes.
came up, and he is very much focusing on Vaishnava education.
Yes.
So he explained the different system, how to develop Vaishyas in our society, because otherwise he will not grow. Because to support the good leaders, Brahmins, Kshatriyas, we need to grow like the earth have to support the plant.
Yes.
So maybe the plant is very good, but if the earth is not solid and then not enough support, then they will not grow and not will spread.
Yes.
So there are the priorities, but they come together. They are have to work in symbiosis all together.
Great. Yes. Yes. Yes.
So
Yeah.
these three necessary. Then the fourth one, which you mentioned, for for qualified Shudras.
Yes,
They are creative persons,
yes,
like Urmila Mataji explaining, not Shudra, but creative class of people. And very good to understand, if you teach, you are a creative class of people,
right,
then, oh yeah, I'm creative, I'm a good artist, like that.
right, right.
They are very important also
Yes,
to have enjoyment, otherwise the world will become very dry.
yes,
If we
yes.
just learn, if we just focus on protection. The Shudras or the creative class of people provide entertainment connected to Krishna.
Right, right, right.
Decoration of all the things, poets, all
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah. Yes,
beautifully
correct.
having.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's all part of one big
Yeah.
recipe.
I think that this name Shudra has been kind of spoiled.
Absolutely.
And that because when even in my childhood in the villages we saw, I mean, now we use blade, but earlier it was like there was a prescribed person who would come and shave.
Correct.
So that would he will get his
Maintenance.
livelihood.
Correct.
He would go from house to house,
Yes.
and that way, and then in the marriages they had their own of work, and they would get all the clothing, they will get some
Yes, yes.
money, means they were taken care of. Like,
Correct.
because what I learned from
Yeah.
my childhood from my grandmother, that we should be very respectful to them. If they will not come, we will not have cleanliness.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Even
yeah.
they would come and do very, very menial services.
Correct.
So that was kind of the mood.
Right. Yes, yes. Yeah. Means everyone is meant to be respected and to be appreciated for whatever
But then
services.
it was discriminated and shown by those who wanted that divide and rule. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
you
correct.
divide.
Yes, yes.
Between Kshatriya Brahmana you divide,
Yeah.
then you Vaishya Shudra divide, and
Yeah.
that way.
There was a big, huge debate, actually, a major conflict, ideological conflict that arose, I believe, just around a little bit before India's independence on these two ideologies in terms of okay, we won't get into it, but yeah, it's connected with what Dayal Mukunda Prabhu was mentioning. Okay, I think we can, yes, absolutely, bring it to a close for now. Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Jai Sri Prabhupada ki, Gaura Primanande. Okay, workers are there.